Oh, Bronco! How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Silly!
University of Montevallo, 24-96. National champions, Wallace State, Briar and Clinton. What's up, everybody? Welcome into this episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. Special guest today, winner of the first MLF college event for this spring season in 2023, Will Hammond and Cabe Mackey from Catawba Valley Community College. Got the win there at the Harris Chain. 5 fish for 25 pounds, 5 ounces last Friday. Guys, congratulations on the win. Will, we'll pull you in here first, man. Major victory. Double points event for the team. Just a great way to start the 2023 season. Tell me about the emotions so far getting a major victory on the college level, the national level at that.
It means a lot. I still don't really think it's hit me quite yet. It keeps kind of resurfacing in my head that I'm really happy to have gotten it done, and it was just everything that I hoped it could have been.
Little over 200 boats there. I watched the weigh-in in the background as I was working at the office, and just awesome to see those big fish come in. Florida this time of year, always a great place to be. As we talked about with Campbellsville leading up to the event last week, some fish are moving up, some fish are spawning, and some are already done. A lot to do, a lot of different ways to catch those fish. We'll talk about patterns and techniques in a minute. Cabe, before we do move on to that, tell me real quick, man, how are things going for you when y'all were done? Was your phone blowing up, family excited, teammates, coaches, the like? What was the reaction from everyone involved that you guys pulled off the major victory?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool to see everybody just kind of rally behind us. We're a pretty small school, so just for this to happen to, like, me and Will this early in the season just shows that, we can do it, and it's possible for us as a small school.
For sure. Congratulations to you guys on that major victory. One of the first major victories for Catawba in the time that I've been involved with collegiate bass fishing here in the ACA. So definitely a major milestone. We'll also get to what the significance of that means towards the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Garcia before we wrap up here in a few minutes. But first, let's talk about the lake, how things were setting up, where y'all fished, how you caught your fish, and things of that nature. Will, what did y'all decide to focus on? I know that listening to the weigh-in, some anglers were just up shallow, flipping, power fishing, and catching bass that way. Others were hinting at the fact that if they could get off the bank, they had fish coming to them. They were catching good quality fish, and that was the way that they were filling their limits. What did y'all settle on to go about targeting your fish for the victory?
Well, so we knew going into it that it was going to be an offshore tournament. I mean, it is every single year, and the thing about Florida that we kind of were keeping in mind is that the fish spawn in waves. So we were kind of looking for a place that there would be both pre-spawn and post-spawn fish that were there, and that what that comes down to is, most of the time is a hard spot. And so we had found a shell bed in practice, caught one fish about 4 pounds off of it, and then never went back until the tournament, and went back, and that's where we sat all day, and that's where we caught every fish off of.
You hear about these shell beds, the hard spots always being a factor down there in Florida. Cabe, tell me, going into the tournament, you guys coming from Catawba Valley in the Carolinas, maybe not exactly what you're used to fishing. How do you go about finding a pattern like this, and what is the adjustments that have to take place for you to not be allured up shallow and know that there's big fish cruising, but to go out and find these little special spots, odd places off the wall a little bit that others can't find? Kind of go through the process of finding that and what it's like compared to maybe what you're used to back home and having to adjust.
Yeah, I think me and Will talked about it a lot, was like being content with staying in one area for 3 days of practice and figuring it out instead of running, 5 lakes. Down here we can run spot to spot and catch fish, and usually in Florida it's not like that. So we were really trying to be content with finding the bigger concentration of fish that we knew we could probably get on in the tournament.
We're talking with Will Hammond and Cabe Mackey from Catawba Valley Community College, ranked 16th in the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Garcia, starting the season off with a win in the MLF event. over in Florida just last week. Well, let's talk about baits now. Tournament's over. You guys are back on campus. Talk a little bit about how you caught these fish on these places. Sometimes it's just repetitive casts with moving baits that we've seen in the past, whether it's a vibrating jig, maybe some type of lipless crankbait or things like that, or you're just soaking a bait in that area all day. As Cabe said, y'all try to stay in one general place to catch all these bass. What was the setup? What baits were you throwing to get the bites?
Well, we were pretty positive that we were going to have to drag something, and that's what ended up happening. We were throwing a Carolina rig and a Texas rig. He was throwing the old monster on his Texas rig. I was throwing a Senko, and then I was throwing a twin tail worm on my Carolina rig. And we were just having to fish really, really slow, really drag it, and feel for the hard spots and feel for where the grass was a little bit thicker and thinner. And I think that being able to feel what we were fishing was really one of the bigger deals, and then slowing down through the day and knowing that we were making the right cast.
Cabe, talk a little bit about the frequency of the bites out there on that spot. Were you catching one every hour and a half or 2 hours? Did you catch them all in the morning, mid-afternoon, late in the day? What was the process like out there to get that winning limit in the boat?
Yeah, I don't know if people know this, but we actually didn't get to pull up to that spot till like 9 o'clock. So when Will made the first cast and caught the 8, we kind of, we went through our limit and caught our limit at like 11 o'clock. And at that point, we were just trying to coal up. So we were catching fish probably. And it kind of happened in flurries, some of them, and then you'd have to wait and kind of drag it slower. So it kind of depended just, if you hit the right spot or not when we got the bite. But, we had our limit at 11 o'clock, and then from there we just tried to coal up as much as we could.
Coal up you did for the winning limit of 25 pounds, 5 ounces to win that MLF event over at the Harris Chain in Florida, earning 1,250 points for your school towards the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Garcia, of which Catawba Valley Community College ranked 16th going into that event last weekend. Have another major event on the Bassmaster College Series in the next couple of days, so we'll have an updated standings out here as we go into the first part of February. And we're in the second half of the season for the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Garcia. Will, let's talk about the points earned at that event. Great start. Really can't ask for anything much better to get a first-place victory, knowing that y'all contributed that amount of points towards your team's goal of moving up in the rankings here in the spring. How awesome is that to know that y'all put a first-place victory there in the score column, and it goes a long ways for the team?
It feels really good. That's our first major victory as a school, and to be able to pull that off, this is only my third major event. To be able to do that feels really good, and the support from the team is really overwhelming. The support from really everybody is overwhelming, so it's feeling really good.
Cabe, tell me a little bit, man, the season so far. Y'all are inside the top 25, have been for a good little while. Of the other schools that are in your similar classification, the junior college ranks, community colleges, y'all are one of the better ones year in and year out competing with these bigger schools and teams across the nation. How has this season gone so far, remaining where y'all have in the rankings and to be in this position where, you're really not that far out of being able to move into the top 10 coming out of a couple good events here over the next month or two?
Yeah, that was actually our goal this year is try to move into the top 10, and obviously, when we got 6th at Dardanelle, that helped us tremendously, but this should help us even more. And I think now that we actually, we showed that we can compete on this level, it just helps our guys, with their confidence. They're going to go into every tournament now thinking, we actually have a good shot, and they're going to put their all for it, and that's really going to help us.
Will, talk a little bit about the makeup of the team. As I alluded to, Catawba Valley Community College, a program where most students are probably there for a year or 2 years tops. So the ability to build a program over 4 years where these bigger teams and schools, the kids are on campus for a longer amount of time before moving on. What is it like to be able to kind of reload almost every season and have to rebuild this group, get it back together, get people on the same track, and be able to remain competitive? But it also speaks to y'all's ability to do it at a high level, as Catawba Valley is always up there in the top 25 of the rankings.
I think it's actually a pretty good thing because we're able to to explore people from different areas of the world. Like right now, we have 2 people from Vermont, we have people from Tennessee, obviously a bunch of people from North Carolina, and we're going to be recruiting people from all over the place. And the fact that we can go through people, not necessarily more quickly, because there is people that stay for longer, but the fact that we can explore different personalities and different people from different places, that I think that helps tremendously.
Yeah, as we talked to different teams throughout the year, we had Montevallo on a few weeks ago. I believe both of our guests were from Minnesota, and they've got people from north, south, east, and west, you name it, a lot of representation of a variety of different states on these teams that have a lot of success throughout the year. So I understand what you're saying there, is that definitely can play a key role. Cabe, let's talk real quick. As the season progresses, what are y'all looking forward to? Are there any stops on the tournament trail that you're looking forward to as it pertains to being able to earn some more points and continue to push Catawba up in the rankings?
I think for me and Will, our biggest tournament next is probably going to be Pickwick, just because, it's double points, and that's the same week as the James River, so we're really hoping we can finish well at both of those tournaments, so that, we can really project ourselves up, because those are 2 very big tournaments. And if you don't finish well at those, it kind of derails what we've done so far.
Yeah, that weekend there towards the end of April going to be a huge player in determining who has a legitimate shot and where everyone falls when the season's said and done. As you said, the Pickwick Slam ACA double points event happening there at Pickwick Lake in Florence, Alabama, and then the Bassmaster College event happening up north. Those 2 happening in the span of just a couple of days. That's a lot of points out there and a lot of meat on the bone for teams to go capitalize and move on up. Will, what would you consider a successful next couple months as we look towards Lake Hartwell and wrapping this up, the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia there at the end of May? What's a successful next 4 or 5 months look like for Catawba Valley to finish the season and be like, man, that's a great year, maybe one of our best in program history, and we have a lot to build off of going forward?
I think that if we can just keep some momentum rolling and end in the top 10, that's kind of what we've been shooting for all along, is to get ourselves in the top 10. And I think we're on the track to do it right now. So hopefully we have some good events before then and leading up, and hopefully that's what we do.
Going to have a shot at it for sure. Right now you guys are sitting in 16th at 10,395 points. And as I look at the rankings from about 18th until 9th, there's 3,000 point difference thereabouts between that group of teams. So you got about 10 teams that really have a realistic shot at moving up in the rankings. Talking about the end of the season, we're going to crown a new national champion and a winner in the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. It's all going to happen at Lake Hartwell in Anderson, South Carolina. Catawba Valley Community College, regionally not located too far from that fishery. Triple points event as well. Okay, last question. As we look at the schedule, you talked about Pickwick. Can't help but also talk about the championship there in May. How awesome would it be if you're able to pull off what Will was talking about, finish in the top 10, not too far from your campus, to be able to finish that off, one of the best seasons for Catawba at Lake Hartwell? Kind of talk about the magnitude of what that moment would mean to y'all.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. That's really what, since the program started, I think about 4 years ago, our ultimate goal was, to make a championship every year and hopefully get into the top 10. So, with it being on Hartwell, which is a spotted bass lake, which is, we both live on a spotted bass lake. So I think that's really going to help us there. But, I hope we can get some good finishes and really propel us up into the top 10.
Will, Cabe, been great talking to you guys today. Best of luck to Catawba Valley Community College as the season moves on here over the next couple months. We look forward to seeing y'all out on the tournament trail. Stay safe. Best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Fishing is all about connecting with nature. Then grabbing nature by the lip and holding it up for a picture.
To fishermen and other liars, the time you spent on the docks, the banks, the boats, the lines you cast, and the hooks you set. These moments you share with the people you love, the fish you never forget, and the tales that get taller with every retelling. Make memories that'll last a lifetime with Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.